Well, hey everybody. Hey everybody. Welcome to Live at 6:45. This is not this is not technically perfect. And I'm Richard and I'm your host Richard Struther. Um so tonight I am once again in Westmount Park. It's a big park, so there's a lot of different areas and I loved the depth on this one. No, it's not a green screen. I could actually walk back down there and you will probably see somebody walk up or down that path as we go on. But tonight, mm, we've been talking about sound. We've been talking about headphones. And there is I've gotten a couple of really, really fantastic questions. Francesca, thanks for the question. Um, we are going to be talking about noise cancellation because it's great to be able to hear sound, but there are some sounds you don't want to. So let's talk about those. So if you haven't watched the episode on sound, I'm going to really, really break it down super, super simple. And that is sound is the movement of air. I know, sound is a wavelength, but that wavelength is a speaker, comes down to a speaker moving air because that is how we hear. Now, if you talk about pure wavelength, there is a way to conduct certain sounds through solid objects. So if you have something that is designed to turn sound into kinetics, and I do, and I will talk about that one soon, then you can do that. Certain sounds are easier to move. Deep sounds, and this is just a really super quick primer. Deep sounds, really low. These types of sounds move through objects and are nondescript. They are really, really, really hard to detect where they're coming from. And those low sounds tend to move not just air, but tend to move what's around them, like wood and walls. And if you put it straight up against a wall, you are going to hear the sound on the other side of the wall. So this boom, boom, boom. Higher sound. The higher the sound goes. Now my voice is about mid, give or take. Mine's about mid. If you start going into this is the hi hat or anything sounds are high. These move the air faster, but they don't go through big, thick objects. In fact, that is why this little microphone here that I use it's a lapel mic, and you're probably hearing me move it a little bit here. Has a sponge on it. Why? Because sponge, because it moves the air, it requires the air to go through the sponge and go through all of these like a piece of Swiss cheese. If you were to run a wire through a piece of Swiss cheese, that's going to be a little bit difficult. That's why sponges work so well. Now this sponge is very thin, but it's meant to kill the air sound around me, but keep my voice here. So that's why I have to really exaggerate that sound. So all that to say, certain sounds move at different frequencies and move air differently. So why sound studios have these things on the wall called baffles, and they are basically sponge. And there are sometimes cones, there's sometimes ripples. They have all kinds of neat designs now. Sometimes they're cubes. There's certain ways of using wood at different depths that the sound is going to bounce off the wood in certain ways that will kill the echo. Because you don't want to have a big room where you have this sound. You know, it's great in a stadium and all that, but you don't really want the echo. So using this kind of sponge to kill off the sound is a great way. These baffles, and that is a baffle, which is why we call them baffles, because it baffles the sound all the way through the sponge and to the other side, and there you go. Okay, so next we talk about how do we get rid of noise. Well, you could wear earmuffs. No, I'm not kidding. I mean, let's be honest. Earmuffs are basically a big sponge with usually fuzzy exterior, and it will knock out a lot of sound. Not all sound though. You will still get the boom, 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 because you're going to feel that. Especially if it's really loud, you're going to feel it. You're going to boom, 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 these big concert, boom, 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 boom. You're going to feel that through you. If it's a smaller speaker, you're still going to hear it a bit. But the midtone sounds are going to get muffled. So that's why if I turn mine off, you're not really going to hear it very well because I'm baffling all the time. Right? Got it. The sibilants can still come through a bit. A bit. Little bit. But this is called passive noise cancellation. This is why we have the big headphones that go over our head, right? And for any of you who have actually seen me, you know what? I'm gonna haul these out here. For any of you who have actually seen my crazy big headphones, these I use in my gaming headphones. They are wired and wireless. These are really super fancy headphones. They're big headphones. These things block out a lot of sound passively. So any sound that comes over this is soft silicone. It's very soft, and it consumes sound. It also sits really comfortably against the skin, so the sound can't pass through any gaps. Again, it's about moving air. So that's cool. What about the in-ear ones? The reason we have the rubber tip. The rubber tip goes in the ear canal. Does the air get through? No, it doesn't. It actually blocks the ear canal and allows, yes, I will talk about that actually. The rubber on the tip of an earbud is actually designed to stop the air from coming in. So this is all passive. It requires no technology aside from the fact that you need something soft. Earplugs work the same way. You need a soft material. If you were to stick a pebble in your ear, guarantee you it's not going to fit your ear canal perfectly. Air is going to get through and you're going to hear sound. Maybe muffled, but you're still going to hear sound. Okay, back to these, because these and a lot of other headphones, these are not unique in that they use active noise cancellation. So what is active noise cancellation? Well, active noise cancellation uses this really cool technology. We're talking about technology, but here's where it gets really interesting. If sound is air moving, whether it's a plane, a metro, a whatever, it's going to generate a wave of air. The air is going to come in waves. There's a microphone on the outside of these or in these headphones that listens to the sound that you would hear. And it generates, and I'm not kidding, it generates the exact opposite wavelength. So as these wavelengths are coming in, it's actually creating the exact opposite. This cancels the sound out. Because if the air can't move in because there's an equal amount of air against or in the opposite way, there is no sound. So that gets really interesting. Does it block all sound? I love this question. Does it block all sound? No, it doesn't. It blocks any consistent sound, like the metro. You'll hear a lot of air and noise on the metro in terms, or train. That consistent clackety noise is consistent. Therefore, you can knock it out because it can understand the consistency of it. Airplanes are a great example. As are metros, as are most public transport. There's a plane going overhead. It would block that out. Why? Because it starts subtly, it moves consistently, and it blocks out. If somebody talks to me, on the other hand, I will hear that there is somebody talking to me. I may not hear all the detail because there are certain sounds that may hold on longer, and it will block a lot of that. But I will still hear that there is somebody talking to me. So that is very, very neat. Now, this is a technology found in many, many headphones. I highly recommend the in-between. I highly recommend the Apple AirPods. I haven't tried the new over-the-ear ones, but if it uses the same technology as the smaller buds, wow, really, really good. These ones are the Neura, and I really, really like my Neura. There is something very special about these. These go in the ear as well. So this actually goes into my ear. These headphones are special. I'm going to do a whole episode just on this because this thing is really cool. It learns how you hear and it builds a profile uniquely for your hearing. But I'll get into that another day because that's a whole other technology and I don't want to muddle it today. But what's really neat is that you'll notice that aside from this, the speaker over here, that there is this huge ring, outside ring, and that generates, there are two sets of speakers in there. One generates the boom, 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 boom sound, the big boom, 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 and it really gives a good kick to it. The other thing that it does is it generates the noise canceling from out here, not in here. So this has a separate set of drivers or speakers specifically to cancel noise. That makes them really, really, really effective. Sometimes a little too much, but not complaining. Then, of course, these headphones can also go wired. So whether it's wired or wireless, again, wired has more bandwidth. We talked about bandwidth earlier. There is more signal throughput to get in so you can get a better quality of sound. So that's really, really nice to know. So that is active noise cancellation. It uses a microphone to a microchip that produces the opposite sign, the anti-sine wave, and it develops this complete anti-sound. The only catch is that some people, not everybody, it's a very rare segment of the population, can't use them. Why? Because your balance is in your ears. Your ears have three interlocking rings, and those determine where your body position is, so your brain knows not to tip backwards or forwards or what have you. Which is what happens when you get vertigo. The liquid in those rings, they are hollow rings. There's liquid in the rings that tell you what's down. If that gels up, then you have no concept of down, and that's what vertigo is. And you can induce that, but that's called a maser, and that's a whole other piece of technology. We can talk about that if you guys want. Thanks for tuning in. I went a little over, but that's okay. Thanks for tuning in. Guys, hit me up in the comments with your questions. Hit me with an email. You know what? I'm going to pop up the email over here. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Hit me up an email. Hit me up with an email. Hit me up. Check out the website. You can actually go to rstruther.com. I finally got that fixed the way I want it, and you know what? Go ahead, check it out. Tell me what you think. I want some feedback on that. I'd love to know what you guys think. But that is active noise cancellation and passive noise cancellation, and I look forward to seeing your comments, your questions. Hit me up. I want to know. And until next time, until tomorrow night at 6:45, have a great evening and have some fun.